How would you respond if, in a fleeting moment of longing for connection, your younger brother unexpectedly entered the room while you were experiencing a particularly vulnerable moment? Here unfolds my narrative. Lily is the name I go by. At the age of 24, I found myself back home just a few weeks ago, having returned for fall break after an extended 2-year journey of studying abroad. The journey back was laden with emotion, particularly the poignant moment of reuniting with my parents. Returning home after such a lengthy absence filled me with an almost indescribable joy. And then came Ryan. Ryan happens to be my younger brother. We had shared our childhood, forever bound by an unbreakable bond. Once, he was the awkward little boy who followed me everywhere, but now he was almost unrecognizable. The once skinny, timid boy I remembered had transformed into a tall, broad-shouldered young man exuding a serene sense of confidence. Clad in a tailored black shirt that accentuated his muscular physique, he resembled a figure plucked from the pages of a glossy magazine. As I embraced him, I felt the tautness of his muscles and was momentarily startled. "You've truly blossomed," I remarked, stepping back, a sense of genuine astonishment washing over me. He chuckled softly, his fingers running through the hair at the nape of his neck. "Indeed, it occurs." It was more than merely his appearance that drew me in. His scent was nothing short of captivating. Be it the allure of cologne or the essence of his natural aroma, it took me by surprise. As the evening unfolded, I became increasingly captivated by him, observing nuances I had previously overlooked. The richness of his laughter, the serenity reflected in his gaze. It was akin to encountering a stranger, despite the fact that he had been a part of my life for as long as I could remember. Allow me to be direct. That initial evening, following the cascade of embraces, the lively exchanges, and the delightful experience of savoring my mom's renowned lasagna, left me completely drained. The 18-hour odyssey, punctuated by layovers, had utterly exhausted my spirit. Once I bid goodnight, I ascended the stairs to cleanse myself, and then surrendered to the embrace of my bed. My old room remained largely untouched, still brimming with the artifacts of my youth. Posters adorn the walls, books line the shelves, and school memorabilia is thoughtfully scattered throughout. As I entered, it was as if I had crossed the threshold of a time capsule, and a wave of nostalgia enveloped me. In that fleeting moment, all I yearned for was a reprieve. Following a soothing shower that banished the weariness of my journey, I donned an oversized t-shirt, extinguished the lights, and nestled beneath the covers. The warm embrace of my childhood home enveloped me, yet as I reclined in the shadows, my mind started to drift. It had been ages since I had felt the warmth of intimacy. Amidst the demands of school, work, and the intricacies of life, there had been little space for nurturing those connections. In the stillness of the empty house, I pondered, why not indulge in a moment for myself? With that thought lingering, I shut my eyes, allowing my hands to wander over the gentle softness and warmth of my skin. As my fingertips glided over my lips and neck, a flicker of something ignited within me. Suddenly, Ryan's face flashed into my thoughts. It was not by design, yet there he stood, his chiseled jawline, tousled hair, and the understated assurance that now enveloped him. A warmth radiated within me, beginning in my chest and cascading downward, enveloping me like an all-consuming flame. I attempted to cast the thought aside, brushing it off as merely a response to encountering him once more after such a lengthy absence. Yet, with each act of defiance, the vision only intensified. I envisioned the extent of his transformation. His rich laughter resonated, his unwavering gaze held me captive, and I envisioned his arms enveloping me, his body reacting to my caress. Before I realized it, I ceased my struggle. My hands glided downward, and I yielded to the electric warmth coursing through my being. My breath came in rapid bursts, and the world around me faded away, leaving just myself and the overwhelming sensation. Ryan's image resurfaced in my mind, yet this time I embraced it without resistance. Instead, I welcomed the allure of the fantastical, I envisioned his powerful hands gliding across my skin, his voice gentle and playful, murmuring my name in a manner that sent delightful shivers coursing down my spine. The brilliance of the fantasy enveloped him, making it feel as though he had stepped into that world itself. My body responded with instinct, each nerve tingling with heightened awareness. The warmth blossomed into a thrilling existence, a blend of warmth and thrill that resonated with a sense of nostalgia while simultaneously offering a fresh experience. Maybe it was due to Ryan's significant presence in my formative years, or perhaps the surprise of encountering him once more after such a lengthy absence. The reason may be elusive, yet the intensity of the moment was unmistakable. Yet, just as I was completely immersed in the fantasy, a faint voice within me began to whisper, "What occupies your time at this moment?" Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ryan. A sudden realization washed over me, leaving me momentarily paralyzed, my gaze fixed on the ceiling as I grappled with my swirling emotions. However, the pause was fleeting. It was merely a figment of my imagination, I reassured myself. A gentle reprieve from the weariness of the day. As I closed my eyes once more, I surrendered to the enveloping warmth and electric haze that cradled me. My fingers danced with newfound purpose, ignited by the vibrant dream blossoming within my imagination. Everything unfolded in my mind's eye. His calloused, gentle hands, his resonant voice uttering my name, and the teasing spark of mischief dancing in his eyes. Every touch intensified the suspense, my heart racing as if an extraordinary event was on the brink of unfolding. And then, quite unexpectedly, it happened. Without warning, the door to my room swung open, lacking even a hint of a knock. "Lily?" Ryan's voice pierced the silence, a sudden shockwave that demanded attention. I stood still, my heart pounding, utterly immobilized as if ensnared by the blinding glare of oncoming headlights. Ryan lingered in the doorway, his gaze expanding in disbelief as he took in the tableau laid out before him. In a brief instant, silence enveloped us. I observed the transformation of his expression, moving from surprise to a dawning realization, and finally settling into a state of embarrassment. His jaw dropped, a deep crimson hue spreading across his face as he remained frozen in place. What about me? I reclined there, completely vulnerable in every conceivable way. Paralyzed, I found myself unable to utter a word, my thoughts swirling in a frantic attempt to comprehend the events that had just unfolded. At last, after what seemed like an endless stretch of silence, I found my voice once more. "Ryan, what on earth is going on?" I exclaimed, my voice rising in pitch and cutting through the air more than I had meant it to. Startled, Ryan blinked rapidly, his words tumbling out in a stammer. "I was unaware. Your door remains perpetually unlocked." He turned his eyes away, sitting up suddenly and clutching a pillow as though it might offer him some form of protection. Even with every inch of me shielded, my heart pounded with an untamed fervor. This was unimaginable. His face, still flushed with a deep crimson hue, revealed a subtle smirk, and in that instant, all I desired was to hurl something at him, overwhelmed by a mix of frustration and embarrassment. Perhaps it would be wise to consider erecting a sign or something similar. He jested, retreating from the room with his hands lifted in feigned capitulation. He let out a soft chuckle as he departed, ascending the stairs, laughter lingering in his wake. I remained seated, utterly astonished, my cheeks aflame and my heart racing. An intense desire washed over me, compelling me to retreat beneath the blankets and vanish from the world indefinitely. As I pondered the events that had just unfolded, an unforeseen understanding began to take shape. The image of his expression lingered in my mind as he stepped through the door. His eyes were wide, and his mouth hung open. Rather than pure terror, a peculiar exhilaration coursed through me. He had witnessed me at my most exposed. The embarrassment hung in the air, yet it intertwined with a thrilling excitement that I found impossible to dismiss. Regardless of my efforts, my mind continually wandered back to that instant, suspended in time, where an overwhelming tension pulsed between us. The next day, I endeavored to maintain an air of normalcy, yet an unmistakable shift lingered in the atmosphere. I did my best to steer clear of Ryan, a challenging endeavor given the confines of our modest home. During dinner, I consciously avoided his gaze. Ryan, in stark contrast, appeared entirely unfazed, engaging in light conversation as if the world around him remained unchanged. Yet, with each laugh and every fleeting glance towards him, my heart would spiral, echoing that electrifying moment at the doorway. After dinner, engulfed by a tempest of emotions within, I withdrew to my room, resting against the door. It was Ryan, my sibling. It was never meant to evoke such feelings, and yet the thrill refused to fade away. As the night deepened, a sudden knock pierced the stillness. My heart quickened as I swung the door open to behold Ryan's effortless smile. "Hey, would you like to catch a movie or perhaps do something else enjoyable?" he inquired with a nonchalant air. I nodded, working to uphold our familiar rhythm even as the butterflies danced in my stomach. As we lingered in the living room, the film flickering on the screen, the distance that once separated us slowly faded away. The warmth emanated from him, and with each delicate movement, my heart quickened in response. As our gazes intertwined, a palpable spark ignited in the space between us. In that fleeting instant, it felt as though time had come to a standstill. Before I fully grasped my actions, I leaned in and bestowed a gentle, ephemeral kiss upon his lips. As I withdrew, his astonishment transformed into a gradual, understanding grin. Indeed, that took me by surprise. He spoke in a soft, playful tone, his words just above a whisper, and I felt a rush of warmth as I locked eyes with him. Indeed, I whispered, my tone soft yet resolute. At that instant, I realized it was meant to be. What do you suppose unfolded thereafter? Did Lily and Ryan delve into this emerging bond, or did they encounter obstacles on their journey? We invite you to share your reflections in the comments below. If this tale resonated with you, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing it with others. Your support is invaluable.